Well, I'm disappointed in our effort. I feel like we let an opportunity slip away. We weren't playing perfect basketball in the first half, but we were executing, and we got a little run that got us a lead headed into halftime, and then we just, for whatever reason, lost our intensity, lost our energy level in the second half. And Washington's a team that's in the same position that we are, in that they're desperate. They're desperate. They're fighting tooth and nail, and they outplayed us and out-executed us really entirely the second half, but for most of the ball game. I don't know. I think there's a lot of things. Our initial positioning defensively wasn't very good. Our rotations weren't there. If we had our first rotation, we didn't have our second or third rotation. Offensively, our spacing wasn't very good. We dribbled too much. We weren't moving the basketball. Weren't setting great screens. I think it just comes back to the details. We harp on the details all the time, and if we don't execute the details, we're not putting ourselves in position to be successful, and we have to be able to do that. They made a lot of shots. They're a team that spreads the floor, and it's really difficult to guard because of the way they move the basketball. They're very disciplined in their system, and when they put shooters on the floor like that and they're able to break us down one-on-one, and if we're not perfect in our rotations, then it's really tough to defend. And sometimes you gotta take your chances. They weren't shooting the three ball particularly well early in the ball game, and then they started hitting them off of our rotations and in the second half, and you got to give them credit because their execution was really, really good. Well, I think we know that every game we have to treat like a playoff game right now. Pretty much everybody, with the exception of the top three teams in the league, are fighting to get into the playoffs. But we can't look 9 games down the road. We have to look at the game that's in front of us, and we have to take it one game at a time. But we have to play each game like it's a playoff game. We have to put that energy, that effort, that urgency out there, and we can't turn that on when the lights come on. We got to be able to do that day in and day out. And I just felt like Washington took it to us today, and they played with that energy and that urgency. I think we came out, we talked about wanting to win the first 5 minutes, and we're stagnant and lethargic on both ends of the floor, and we weren't in our rotations, and we weren't contesting shots, and then you could kind of see our body language change. And this league, you can't allow teams to do that. You can't allow teams to just come in and the start of a half, the start of a game, take your heart out, and we allowed Washington to do that. I think they wish that we would treat it like, it's just a first game back jitters or whatever, out of sync. But no, we dissect it and we go look at it. We look at every time that we weren't in the proper position, every time we weren't in the proper rotation. We look at, our lack of execution and movement and spacing on the offensive end of the floor. We got to get better. We got to get better. And rust and jitters and whatever else doesn't matter. Everybody else in the league's been in the same position. And you've seen with these scores that every team in the league that's fighting for a playoff position is desperate, and we got to play with that same desperation.